Okay, I have a lot of updates for you today. First, before we even begin, if you're watching this, please go ahead and hit the thumbs up. Okay, you hit the thumbs up, it'll make it go out a little further. So help us out with that. Even if you're watching the replay, go ahead and hit the thumbs up, and that helps. If you're not following us on Instagram, on Facebook, on TikTok, and subscribing to our channel, please do that right now. All right, and I am Dr. Sherry. I put different things in different places, you guys. All right, let's see what's going on in the comments. Let's see. Hey, Dr. Sherry, how are you doing? I am fine. Hey, Antoinette. Hey, Donna. Hi. Hey there, everyone. All right, you guys. So let's just get right into it. I do have some updates. And let me just tell you, I've done some TikTok lives too, where I put some information over there. So if you haven't had a chance, go over to TikTok live. Look at my lives, okay? And I don't know where you can find them. I think they're like behind I don't know, they might be at the top or to the right. I don't know. But go check out the TikTok lives because they're there as well. All right. All right. So let's talk about the driver's license first. Okay, we know that there has been news floating around. Someone put out that President Trump stated in January 2026 that there was not going to be a need anymore for driver's license. I wanted to clarify that because that's not true. Okay, but there is a hint of truth there. So let's just clarify. First of all, if you are American, you know that we travel anyway. And there is tons of legislation out there. So if you're in our school, all of our information is on there. It has won in court case, and not it has. All right. So if you're not in our school, go to New Status, newlife.com, go in the school, and it helps with traffic tickets. All of that is commercial. All right. So the driver's license is a commercial driver's license. We've already proven that. Okay. So even if you go to their statutes and codes, it talks about a motor vehicle. Motor vehicle means that you're in commercial status. That means you are using your vehicle in commerce. So like an Uber or Lyft driver, that's using their vehicle in commerce. They're working. If you transport things with your vehicle from one location to another, you're getting paid. That's in commerce. If you're just getting in your car and going to the store, you're not in commerce. You're just traveling to the store. That's it. You don't need a license for that. Okay. This has already been proven. And so what is happening, you guys, is President Trump has asked the Secretary of Transportation to look at very clearly what is the validity of the driver's license as it relates to Americans. This is where your status is important, you guys. As we move on, more and more and more, you guys are going to begin to understand the importance of correcting your status. It is so important to correct your status, and it's no big deal. Okay, I know years ago it used to be a scary process, but now it's just validating and declaring who you are. So wherever you were born, that is who you are. I was born in Pennsylvania. I'm a Pennsylvanian. It's really just that simple. And I'm declaring that so I can come out of the U.S. Citizen state. Because when you're in that state, you guys, you actually have to abide by their statutes, their codes, and their regulations. That's why you correct your status so you can just move about as a free American, as a sovereign, not a sovereign citizen. If you say sovereign citizen, it could get you in a heap of trouble because they have declared in their system that a sovereign citizen is someone who is an enemy. Okay. Hi, Sharon. All right. So just make sure you're understanding that. All right. All right. So that is clarification of the driver's license and understanding where we are with that. So if you see anything out there that the driver's license is going to be removed, that's not so. But President Trump did ask the Secretary of Transportation to look at the components of the driver's license as it relates to an American. And that's why you have to understand who you are. So if you're going about as a U.S. citizen, then yeah, that's when all that stuff that they're doing is going to apply to you, but not Americans. And that's why President Trump is making the distinction now. Okay. Hi, Jam Party. All right. Now I want to talk about, I'm going to be hitting in and out with the bank a little bit. Because there's been a lot going on with the bank, and I am getting information from the reset that's happening as from BRICS. Okay, because there's something going on in the BRICS system. Okay, so for those that know about BRICS, countries got together and they started to create their own banking system. All right, and so they are literally meeting in a summit, I think right now in July, where they are actually meeting to bring forth their gold back system. Gold back, and you notice that they don't say money anymore. They're saying currency. And you all got to begin to look at these differences, because there's a difference between money and currency. There's a difference in even saying it. And so currency, it comes from the word current that's come from electrical. Everything is a current. It comes from water. So it's electrical movement where it moves things through. Okay. And so when we talk about currencies, that's exactly what they're talking about. You're going to start to see that word money begin to kind of fizzle out here shortly. I believe that's my own personal opinion. Hi, Grand Rising. Hi, how are you? All right, everybody is going in. Hey, Harrison. All right. Yes, please do the thumbs up, everybody. Please, please, please do the thumbs up, because that pushes it out a lot further. And don't forget to follow me on all social media, Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, and subscribe to our channel here. Okay. Don't think, oh, let me make this announcement right now. Y'all know I only do orientations once a month. I'm doing one tonight, 6:30 p.m. So if you are, or if you know of people that are clueless to this information, I encourage you. I cannot stress this enough. I encourage you to share this with them, because let me tell you what's about to happen. This bank is like right around the corner. Okay, they are getting things in order, and I'm going to give you some updates of what Anna said as well. But a lot has transpired. And when I told you I'm researching all systems, I'm researching what the de facto was doing in their little BRIC system. I'm researching what the American Assembly the Federation is doing from the American standpoint. And then there's another movement that's going on as well. Okay, that I'm actually researching. I'm getting all of this intel from all these three different components. And what's so ironic to me is that all of these separate entities have the same theme running through it, which means they're doing away with the United States dollar, you guys. And all of these different components are moving back to a gold-backed currency. And so this is so important. So I'm tying this to like me even doing an orientation tonight, because in fact, I can use Anna. Anna has actually, and some of the people in Global Bank that are actually working in the system already and receiving from the system, they actually, when I say receiving, let me clarify that they have not received the AFD to be able to convert it. Okay. But what they did have to do, they had to shut down their old bank accounts. So there is a old banking system, like you have a checking account at BOA or Wells Fargo, what have you. They're having to shut down their old banking systems, which they have done. And they're in that in between right now, waiting for the new system to be turned on. So some of them literally are going without any type of pass-through accounts right now. Okay. They have no pass-through. So like when I say pass-through, you can't write them a check because they have no pass-through. Okay. No pass-through account. They've shut them down. And here, and you guys, if you just look in your own community, don't forget to give a thumbs up. But if you look in your own community, look at the amount of banks that have closed. Put in the chat, give me a number one if you have noticed banks in your own community that have closed. Put a one in the chat if you noticed that. Because I know in my own community, my community in Philly and my community in Atlanta, the community around where my mom lives, All of the banks, which used to could just run up the street, they've closed. So you're going to begin to notice that banks just around you have closed. They're no longer there. And so you got to be able to witness what is happening in real time. In real time. Okay. Let me see. Oh, nobody has noticed banks around you closing. Is it just me? Okay, I guess it's just me. But yeah, but banks have, I mean, talking about the physical bank, it has actually closed. Okay. All right, here we go. Hi, how are you? Okay, it's Jasmine. All right, so what Anna has said is that when this whole system actually converts, which is any day now, and I'm going to say it again, I'm getting intel from a lot of different areas. And it is happening. It is happening all around. Everything is, every day we're getting closer and closer to everything moving in motion. When I went home to Chicago, this is starting to happen. Oh, there you go. Okay. All right. So with this moving into position, you guys, you got to begin to understand when it happens, there are going to be so many people in need and understanding of what is happening, because this is the thing. By the time it hits CNN, it's too late. By the time it hits CNN, it's over. Just about all PNC banks where I have closed. Oh yeah, I've noticed PNC. Yeah, definitely. But when it hits CNN News, you guys, it's over. It's already done. But make sure you understand that. By the time you see something on CNN, it has been a whole heap of stuff that has already happened in the background for weeks and weeks and weeks. Okay. So again, just you understanding that those that's in that global family bank umbrella have shut down their old banking systems, waiting for the new banking system. That shows you how close we are. Okay. So what they're saying is that it's going to be so many people in need that everybody is probably going to have to be responsible for about 25 people that you're going to have to educate. And I know that to be true. So what am I saying? If you're already status corrected, right? If you're already status corrected, if you already have an understanding, if you have an account, if you're receiving your monthly deposits of American Federation dollars, once this happens, it's going to be easy for you to be able to see people around you that are clueless to this. So now that's why I tap into my class tonight, to alleviate the amount of people that you know are going to need the help. Begin telling them now. Begin sharing now. Because again, once it hits CNN, once our bank is turned on, it's a wrap. It's like really a wrap, because thousands of people at this time are going to be trying to figure out what's going on. What do I need to do? And that's why I'm telling you now, you need to do a big push into helping people. Okay. Hey, family, please don't forget to give this give a thumbs up, please, because it helps push it out a lot further. All right, so do a push tonight and sharing the link so they can register for tonight's Zoom. It's at 6:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Okay. All right. Where am I? All right, so let's talk about the difference. So now we're honing in on the banks. Let me kind of explain to you what the banking system is like now, the old banking system and the de facto. So you have a civilian side and you have a military side. Okay, they're two sides. Okay, and what's happening is that the two sides aren't talking to each other. They're not talking. Okay, so you have a civilian side. So when you see on a dollar bill or $5, $10, I don't care, you see all that little writing that says this is legal tender to be paid for debts in the public and the private. You see that on the Federal Reserve notes, right? Okay. What that means is that the civilian side of banking deals with our credits. Okay, it's all of the credits that we have. But the military side deals with all of our debt. So even though we have credit out there to handle all of our essentials, which we have already covered in our classes, we've already covered it. It's in the school. I have talked about this over and over and over again. I'm giving y'all statutes and codes where it shows the United States is responsible for all of our essentials. Okay. I showed it to you. They are the obligor. Okay. I showed you several different statutes and codes that says this already. But what happens is that the natural man, the natural woman, especially those that are still in the U.S. citizen category, they don't understand, and they are continually living out through that straw man and that military banking system, which is the debts. Okay. Finally, when we wake up and have an understanding of who we are, we then begin to have an understanding. I'm sorry. We begin to have an understanding of the civilian side of banking. And so then as we go through, that's why you'll see, like in our presentation tonight, where we've done different moochies, we've done, different things to get apartment leases paid, utilities paid. You'll see the ones that were successful. We were even able to borrow from ourselves, get monies from our trust account and borrow from ourselves. We were able to do all of that. Okay. Okay. So once we were able to do it when we have proof of that, that is giving you firsthand witness testimony of the civilian banking side and the military banking side. So they have the military banking side handling all of our debts. And that's why they have the military over there. Because what do? They try to enforce, they try to bring you in using force to make you pay these debts. Okay, that's what these attorneys stand for. These attorneys are esquires who bring you to the king and turn you in. Okay, that's what all of that means. Please post the links needed to sit in your classes. I like to attend. Okay, if you go to newstatusnewlife.com, right down here, okay, go to newstatusnewlife.com, you'll see it right there. A lot of our links, okay? All right. What was I going to say? So, going back to the banking system, the military handles the debt side. The civilian with our credits, that's the side you really don't know about. So what happens is that these two banking systems never talk. They never talk to each other. So when our straw man, when we're born and they create this straw man for us, this sole proprietor, okay, this entity that we, the natural man, begin to live our lives out, not knowing it's a whole fictitious entity that's been created so they can communicate with the natural man and the natural woman. We have no knowledge that there's a credit side to this. So that's what Global Bank is. Global Bank is being created so the two sides can talk to each other. Does that make sense? Give a thumbs up now if you're understanding how this system is supposed to be working now. Okay? The civilian side with the credits, the military side with the debts, the two sides now being able to communicate with each other. That's what we're doing. Making sure we have a system in place where the two can communicate, because we have trillions, I don't like to say thousand, trillions and trillions and trillions of credits. Okay? To a turn means to turn over. There you go. Come on, Harrison. All right. You already know. There we go. That's what I'm saying. When people be hiring these attorneys thinking that they are working for them, that's a lie. They trying to figure out how they can get some money to bring it to the king. Nobody is working in your favor. So listen. So if they say they are, well, let me take that back. If you can find a common law, maybe if you can find a common law attorney, possibly, possibly. That's a big possibly. All right. So now we have an understanding now of the civilian bank, the military bank, civilian being our credits, the military being our debts, the two systems being able to communicate. Because what has happened is that we've just been experiencing military banks that are just covering debts. And we have to go through so much to say, no, I have credit there. Use the credit. Okay? because they haven't been taught to understand the civilian banking system. They don't know the language. They don't know the jargon. They're clueless to it, and they're purposely left out in the dark. Okay? So, over time, and just a little history lesson just to get you to understand this. Over time, I'm talking about centuries and centuries and centuries, because all of this started back like 700 BC. Okay, all of this corruption. And they've already stated that they have figured out, and it's easy to be tracked now, that all of it started in Rome. Started in Rome, but it came across as if it was religious and spiritual. But on the backside of that, we know it was pure evil, pure pagan worship. That's why you have to really understand the roots of Christianity and understand where it was based in. And I know we have this movement now saying that Christianity, or a link of Christianity, was started in Africa or what have you. But you really got to begin to research all of that lineage to be sure and have an understanding of what your belief system is. Okay? You really have to understand that. So when we talk about where all of this began and these families that are linked to it, so you have to understand there's an Eastern side of understanding the financial system, and then there's a Western side of where we are of having our banking system. And that's another area that's like black and white. It's like literally black and white. The Eastern monetary system doesn't deal with Federal Reserve notes and all of that. They literally deal with gold and silver. Okay. And then you have us over here dealing with Federal Reserve notes. It's just a mess. But you have these families that are in the middle that are the link to the Eastern banking system of the world and the Western banking system of the world, and trying to keep the game alive. And what is happening now is that these older generations have died out. And remember now, a lot of their children, they don't go to schools like we have. They have their own elite schools where they get an understanding of the historical context of this, how it started and how to keep it going. They go to school to understand how to do this. Okay. But what they're finding is that these generations that are in our age group now, they're coming about with a lot of mental issues, a lot of serious issues of not being able to understand how to keep it going. And so that's why you're starting to see cracks in the system as well, because they're not mentally able to keep it up anymore. And another thing is, truth is surfacing so much, it's hard. It's hard because people are learning and people are getting a thorough understanding now of this game. And time is up. Time is up. All right. And the next thing I want to talk about is when you're recording your documents, and I say this all the time. But there are several different systems are up now. And remember when we first started doing our YouTubes way back, I think it was last August of 2024. And we were trying to make sure that we were getting documents recorded. And we even had people recording them at the library on their bulletin board and taking a picture. Well, we're so past this now. So yeah, if you're going through your state assembly, you can record your documents through your state assembly secretaries, recording secretaries on the Land Recording Office, the LRO. Okay, but it has to go through the state assembly recording secretaries. If you're having a hard time, which many of you have had a hard time, getting people to contact you back, getting your documents, recorded, just getting any type of communication whatsoever from the state assemblies, we have encouraged you to record on the Global Bank, which is perfectly fine. Okay. Now on the Global Bank, nobody's not going to be able to go there and see that you have recorded, because it's not a public it's not a public or organization. Okay. When I say it's not public, nobody can't just go check and verify you. So you're going to have to kind of send them your recording information from the Global Bank so they can see that it has been publicly recorded. And you guys, that's all this means. You're just publicly making a declaration with two witnesses that you have corrected your status to who you are. This is it. People are making a big deal out of this, making it like it's so scary. Only thing you're doing is declaring who you are. That's it. You are not a corporation. You're just declaring, I am a natural man, a natural woman who was born on the land, and I'm declaring it so everybody knows. And I've made a public declaration with 2 witnesses. That's it. Okay. Now, there's also another system that has come about called the bucolic system. And if you're in a school, I already gave you guys information on that. This is pretty much dealing with land patents. And, we've been helping people get their land patents and a allodial title. Okay. And one of the biggest problems that we found over and over and over again is if you're going to use an attorney to do your chain of title, you guys, they are not going to go back to the land patent. They're only going back at the max 50 years. And I keep telling you that. They're only going back 50 years if you use an attorney to do your chain of title. You are going to have to go into your land recording office in your state. Okay. Yeah, you might have to travel. Okay. Sometimes then I have found sometimes they will send them over some people have been able to get the the certificate emailed to them just by calling on the phone. Okay. I've learned more from you than from the state I'm with. I need to relocate. Yeah, it's been hard, Sharon. That's how I got into this, because nobody was able to learn in the assemblies, and they were not communicating. And that's how I had to get something going to make sure that no one was left behind that was attached to me. And when I say attached to me, if we're in alignment with one another, our energies are reciprocating for one another, then we're in the same tribe. And so that's why I started this YouTube and the school, because we have to keep moving. Okay, we have to keep moving. And the only way we're going to keep moving is we have to educate. Thank you, Annalisa. Oh, you're welcome, Harrison. We have to keep moving. We have to keep educating ourselves. When I think about some of the people that have come into our school, how afraid they were, how frightened they were, how clueless they were, and now they have the strength to stand in front of judges and bring them down. We've had students in our class put petitions out. Y'all are in the school, you already know. In fact, if you go back to my last week or the week before, the petitions are there. They've had judges remove, you guys. Remove. We've had students to bring down Bank of America because she was able to catch them in a lie, and the judge wanted her to cross-examine the server on the stand because he lied for Bank of America, and she caught him, and she won. Okay. We've had a student bring down the state of Texas, bring down the FBI. Listen, I don't want to hear it doesn't work. It does work. I have right now my own $16 million lawsuit for big corruption. And I'm not talking about it yet because I want to make sure it gets past a certain point. But when I tell you I have 18 defendants and one of them has already settled with me. He wanted no parts because he saw the corruption. But when we get a little further ahead in this case, I'm going to do a YouTube just on my case so you can see how deep this corruption goes and to what extent they will go. And my case involves judges, attorneys, law firms, mortgage companies, title companies, individuals. It's a mess. Finance companies, real estate companies. That's just how deep mine goes. And I was able to figure out the lies and the scheme that they tried to do against me. Thank God for you. No one explained any of this like you do. Oh, you're welcome, Kimberly. You're welcome. All right. Let me see what else I have for you. All right. So I did get a nugget. So let me write this down, and this might help you guys a lot. So we try to keep up with Anna's Colorado. We try to keep it with honors articles, but sometimes when you go there, they're all, if you put in a word, you might get like 50 or 100 of them come up with that word. So the Colorado Assembly is making this available to all of us. If you go to the Colorado Assembly, I hope I spelled that right, coloradoassembly.net. They have organized honors articles from the latest to the earlier. So it's going to start like in the 50, I think she like in 54, 5,500, somewhere in up there. And what they're going to do now is that you can see the articles there. It's easy to put in a word, and all of the latest documents that surround that word will come up. But if you just want to read just her latest documents, they have it so now that you can pull the latest documents and it will read it out loud for you. So if you're going to work or what have you, just go to coloradoassembly.net, pull up the latest one, and just have it read it for you while you're going to work. So that is something that I thought was very, very good. So you can kind of keep up to with all the public notices and international notices that she's putting out. Okay. Okay, you guys, that's all I have for you today. I'm gonna go and give my voice a break because we got class tonight. And so we're going to run through the class. You need to please, please, please share. I can't stress it enough. And I keep saying this every week because I already know what's going to happen. When the bank is turned on, some of you, okay, some of you, hell, might be me too. We're gonna need to we might need to take a break. But that's going to be the time that people are going to need us the most. Okay. You must confront the lie with the truth. There it is. Yes. But when the bank turns on, I already know, and that's why I told people, especially in the school, go ahead and make a plan on what you want to do when the bank is turned on, so you're not having to think about it. Make a plan now on what you need to take care of. Is it surgeries? Oh, that's what I want to share with you guys too. Oh, this is good right here, and then I'm gonna go for real. I did this on TikTok Live. I talked about this on last Tuesday, but they actually did a beta test. Okay. And they did a beta test on those that had received lump sums of money. Right. And when they did the beta test on those receiving the lump sum of money, they wanted to see how people were going to spend it. And they were so happy because the majority of the people did things that were going to help them, and they acted very responsibly with the money. Okay. So they got, housing, paid their debts. They paid their debts. They got surgeries that they may have needed, helped their family members out, got automobiles. They found that they were not extravagant in their spending. They did say some people, yes, please share it every week with 15 people. But they found that some people did retire and they spent more time, like maybe taking care of the grandkids or the children, they found that some did blow it at casinos. Okay, so they did have a small portion to literally just go through it and just blow it. But it was a very small portion. They were very pleased with the beta study. And they wanted to see what was going to happen when the money is turned on for us. How will we behave? Okay. And so I am saying for those that are, we're linked together. I want you to be responsible. I really want you to be responsible and get the things that you need and identify the things that your family needs. Okay. Identify those things. Do we have to get a Lamborghini? No. You want a nice car? Yes, get a nice car. But does it have to be a Lamborghini? No. You want an Escalade, Cadillac Escalade? You want a Lincoln Navigator? You want whatever, a Genesis? Get a nice car. You deserve that. It's your money. But if you don't have to get the Lamborghini, don't get it. Do you see what I'm saying? Okay? Do you see what I'm saying? I'm telling you to be responsible for the money because be responsible with your gold currency because so many people are going to be in need. And for those that are already in position and you already have monies in your global bank account, you need to be thankful. You need to be thankful because there are so many people that are on waiting, standing by right now, just waiting and waiting and waiting and waiting and nothing. Look how many people in our school have started this like December and January and literally just got their first deposit like a month ago. Okay. So imagine what's going to happen when the bank turns on and people begin to see that this is real. Do realize they are not doing all this work for anything. If you think for 1 minute this is a scam, you got to be crazy. There is no way all of these people are putting forth all of this work. And let me just be clear. Hunter, who was over Global Bank, he was already a trillionaire. All right. He didn't need any money, but he found the cracks in the system and he saw what they had done. And he aligned with Anna, who historically had an understanding because she was raised in this knowledge. Her family had a deep understanding of what happened. And they passed that down to her. That's how she became Justice Anna. Okay. And remember now, a justice is different than a judge. A justice is higher in their knowledge and in their thinking. Judge is de facto. And so when we get an understanding of that, and those two worlds begin to understand we are stronger together than we are apart. They had the same goal, but they decided to just bring their two goals together. That's why we're able to declare on Global Bank now. They brought the two worlds together. Okay. And they were able to join their forces as far as bringing forth our own American Federation dollar, which is already on the St. Crown Exchange. And that's another thing. Remember, I told y'all, do not get an account on the St. Crown Exchange. So I hope those that are in our school listen to me, because some people did not. And they opened up an account on the St. Crown Exchange, which is all de facto. Even though you can see the American Federation dollar on the St. Crown Exchange, that's a de facto system. We're going to be able to do all of our exchanges in our global banking system. We're not going to have to do anything externally. Okay. Everything is in our system where we'll be able to convert into all of these different currencies. Okay. All right, you guys, I'm tired. I think that's it. Okay. So don't forget, follow me on all social media. All right. Remember, I put a lot of family stuff out there, travel stuff, and then bam, I hit you with some information. I gotta kind of smooth it out because I don't want them to shut my system down. Okay. So I'll see you guys tonight, 6:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. If you're watching this and it's past our Friday, I do this every fourth Friday, 6:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on Zoom. You can go to the website right there and register. You do have to register, okay, to come in. All right, you guys, I love you so much. Until tonight. And if you're watching, we're past that. Until next time. Bye-bye.